Welcome to the Computer Repair Podcast, episode number 311, Pulseway, Real-Time Remote Monitoring and Management. I'm your host, Jeff Halash. This is our live show where we discuss the ins and outs of running your computer repair business. Our show today is brought to you by Instant House Call, remote support that is easy for you and your customers to use. This is a must-have tool with features like on-demand for your break-fix customers and unattended for managed services. You can do automatic repairs with the auto repair built-in software, and it will save you time and money when you're supporting your customers. Check it out for a free trial at instanthousecall.com. Use the offer code PODNUTS. And also buy FreshBooks, the simple pain-free invoicing solution for freelancers and small business owners. For a 30-day free trial, just go to freshbooks.com/PodNuts. Enter PodNuts in the How Did You Hear About It section. Let me introduce the co-host. We have John Dubinsky from the Maven Group. John, how you doing?
Jeff, I've got you 5x5, and I'm happier than a pit bull in a butcher shop today, so this is going to be great.
I don't even know how to respond to that, John, but thank you. And also joining us, we have Edgar Zacharjev from Pulseway. How you doing, Edgar?
Hello. Nice to be on here.
Edgar, do you go by Edgar or Ed?
Ed with two D's.
All right, Ed with two D's. That's what we're going to call you from now on. Awesome. Very good. And also Marius Mihalec from Pulseway. Marius, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having us. It's great to be
awesome
here.
to have you guys on here. I'm glad we were able to make time and get you guys on here to talk about your product. But before that, we're going to start off with a tip or story that we could learn from. And John, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Thanks, Jeff. A couple quick tips as usual this week. Doing some troubleshooting over the weekend, setting up some VLANs on actually my own office network. And I wanted to do some testing with option 66. And, I'd never done that before to actually see if option 66 was working. So I went looking for a tool where I could send a Discover packet to my DHCP server and then listen for the responses and actually see the responses. So I actually found a tool that somebody wrote called DHCP Test, and I will put a nice little link in the show notes for that. Very easy to use, very easy to get a little confidence in whatever options you're setting up for your DHCP server so that you know your responses are correct and whether it's working. So cool tip there. Next one is a little article that I read. It's called The 5 Emerging Cybersecurity Threats You Should Know About and Take Very Seriously in 2019. It's kind of a link bait title, but they talk about cryptojacking and they talk about IoT and mobile malware and a couple other things. But the other two things that really kind of caught my eye was they do talk about cross-site scripting, which you don't hear a lot about. So if you don't know about that, read the article and get some information. But the other thing is, some geopolitical risks. There's a lot of information about China and maybe Russia actually trying to cut themselves off from the internet. And actually on another podcast, Steve talked about how Russia is going to actually do a test in April where they're actually going to disconnect to see if their system's actually working. I think it's supposed to be around or before April 1st. So pretty cool read, just something to look at. I'll put the link in the show notes. Two more quick things. For those of you that don't know, Wi-Fi 6 is right around the corner. And if you don't know what that is, 802.11n we got in 2009, AC we got in 2014, which really isn't still popular, but now AX is here. So little article for you to read just to be, keep up on all those wireless standards that make our life so fun when we're trying to do wireless deployments. And if I said, those of you who have kids, then I would say backpack, and you'll know exactly what I mean if you have kids and you watch Dora the Explorer. Great, hit the CRP group, and everybody was listing in there their favorite tech backpacks. So I thought that was a great article. I actually chose one from a company I never heard of called YourPack. Yes, it must be a Chinese brand or something like that because the English on the documentation that came with it was very bad as well. But the backpack's great, and it's less than $50. The reason I chose that is I sent my Briggs & Riley in, which is a pretty expensive backpack in for repair because it has a lifetime warranty. And they told me that might take 2 weeks. So I wanted something better than what I had as a backpack, and I didn't want to spend hundreds of dollars on that. So I picked up this YourPack backpack. Very nice. There's a tip, but a lot of other guys put their favorites in theirs too. So I thought that was really handy. And those are my tips for the week.
I don't even know where to go with that, John. It's like it's just a bunch of good stuff that people can definitely take away and learn from. So
I talk as fast as I can because you say I have 4 minutes and then I got to be quiet. So that's it.
Yeah, I'd like it to be a little less, but it's okay. I like it when you talk and drone on. Better than me talking and droning on. Nobody wants to hear me talk anymore. Ed or Marius, do you guys have anything that you'd like to, any life tips or anything like that that you'd like to give the audience out there?
Strong passwords on your. I have a funny story about that actually. This is years ago when we maybe like 4 years ago or so. Marius could help out with that as well. So I had a not so strong password on my personal machine. It started with a 1 and then it ended with a 6.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so I was on a train going into the city center, and I left my laptop on the train, and it was taken by somebody. And somehow, miraculously, somebody cracked my sophisticated protection on my machine. But luckily, I had a Pulseway installed on it, so I got notified that it came back online. So it came back online, and I got pinged, and I was like, well, okay, well, somebody's there now. So I pinged the guys at the office, and Marius can tell you what happened from there.
Yeah, well, first we erased everything that he had on his home folder. That was the first thing, because we didn't know for how long that user is going to keep the computer connected to the internet. So once we erased all the personal files Ed had, then it was just a piece of hardware. But then we decided to have fun. So because Pulseway had the screenshot feature, and of course chat as well, but just the screenshot, we were looking at the screen, and that person was browsing his Facebook page, so we started contacting him on Facebook, and he got scared and offered to return the laptop. So Ed got his laptop back and all that, but it was fun. So now he has added a 7 to his password to make sure that it's secure now. So yeah, that's the tip from Ed: is strong password, stronger than this. Anyway.
Oh, so what is that again? 1, 2, 3. Hang on, I'll get it. 4, 5.
Oh my god, dude, John, I loved your tips, but I'm sorry, these tips from the password story, that just.
Yeah, I gotta bring it. I gotta raise the bar. Okay, raise the bar.
And to have Pulseway be able to do that for you, that is so awesome. That is way cool. So, Ed, how complicated of a password do you use nowadays? Now, don't tell everybody what it is, but you make it a little more complicated. Oh
yeah,
characters.
It's letters now, so it starts with a D. And then with a D. No, I'm joking. No, it's a lot better now, and it's encrypted, and it's
nice.
We even offered him a 1Password license to have on his computer. Now, if he uses that software, I'm not quite sure to this day, but you
almost have to use a password manager because I think about I've probably got, and John, you probably got more than me, but I've probably got 300 sites that I can log into, that I have logins for. And using a product like LastPass or whatever your password manager of choice is, it makes my life a whole lot easier because every password is different. They're all very, very complicated. I can't remember any of them. Now, I've got to use my one major password, and it's 32 characters long. A lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't tell people that. Listen, if you've got the time and energy and you want to crack it, go for it. Because I don't think it's being done in my lifetime, so I'm not worried about it. But that's just a great story. Well, I'm sure we're going to hear more about what Pulseway can do and all those types of things. So I'm going to tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. And did I share my tip today?
Not yet.
I didn't share my tip today. I had it, and I remember what it was now. So talking about another product, Freedom Voice. This week I've got a lot of people know that we've been, certain people have been signing up for voice over IP through Freedom Voice. So I got my phone today, and I have to go to Freedom Voice University, and it's on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, for anybody that ever wants to do a tutorial video, I encourage you, sign up for Freedom Voice just for that and go through and watch the step-by-step, good, solid, easy to understand information that Freedom Voice will give you when you're signing up for their service and figuring out all the things that. Now, did I remember everything in that hour presentation? Absolutely not. But did I remember the key points I needed to set up my account? Yes. And was it impressionable? Yes. So I encourage everybody out there, if you're going to make a tutorial for something, make it super simple so people can understand what it is that they're watching, what it is they're understanding when using a product or service. So I just shout out to Freedom Voice, and I thought it was going to be a drudgery to sit there for an hour, but it wasn't bad. You know, bag of popcorn, a pop, and good to go. So anyways, that is my tip. Just, yeah, keep it simple when you're doing tutorials. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we will get into our main topic, which I'm excited about. TechCon Unplugged, September 20th through the 22nd, 2019. Where? In Grand Rapids, Michigan. Why? Because we want to. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get all meals and snacks at the event. Means you're going to be able to come in, have breakfast. You're going to be able to have a lunchtime meal. And then even on Saturday night, we're actually taking that a step further, and we're all going to Dave & Buster's, which is a 6-minute walk from the hotel. And we've got a room set aside for us to go in there, eat a bunch of food, hang out, talk shop or not talk shop, talk personal lives, whatever. Or you're going to have plenty of video games and different things that you can play if you're into that stuff. So there's going to be something for everyone, and it's just a community-based effort for everyone to hang out and learn from each other and just relax and have a good time and be able to go home and take away good, solid information that you can take in your business and move forward. Because the one thing, and John will say this all the time, the one thing John knows for sure is he doesn't know everything. Now, you'll never hear me say that, but John will say that all the time. Right, John?
Absolutely. Just proved that to myself this weekend.
There's always something more. You know, as long as we've been at this, there's always something more that we can learn. But the other thing you're going to get is that good, wholesome IT content with community invested vendors. And what we mean by that is the vendors that actually care about your bottom line. And in turn, we're going to care about their bottom line so that everybody can stay in business and continue to do business and have these great products and services that can help you. So you're going to be able to rub shoulders with the vendors that we have on board, and it's going to be a great time just to hang out and take a little bit of time away from your business, but make it a learning, fun time. And same as on the show, we don't like to keep it all, rigid and we're going to talk about this and we're going to be super serious. No, if you're not having fun doing this, man, go find something else to do because it's just not worth it. Life's too short. So anyways, TechConUnplugged.com. You can get your tickets today. It's $199, which is super cheap. Hotel is only $102 a night. Can't get any better than that. It's right next to the airport. You can get a shuttle free ride from the airport to there. If you're driving in, you don't have to pay for parking.
Hey, I'll pick you up.
There you go. John will pick you up. He's so close.
Beep, beep. Hey, no, back to our partners, though. I mean, I'm going to give a shout out to a lot of those. And I know we're bringing on another new one that's dealing with some marketing that's really pinpointing a lot about what us guys or gals are looking for. But, I just want to stress more about the interactive stuff that we're going to do with our partners. It's not just a sales pitch. It's more about learning how the partners can benefit us and how we can benefit them at the same time. That's the real important part. And then what's the difference? I just want to stress that again.
That's awesome, John. And I couldn't have said it better myself. So very cool. All right, let's go into our main topic. And today we have two people from Pulseway, and we're going to go ahead and who wants to start off with their origin story, where they started from and how they got to this point in the business?
I'll start with just a brief background story of how Pulseway came to be. So in around end of 2010, I think it was, I was back home in bed, and it was a cold November, cold and windy, and I was just too lazy to get up and say, hey, I left my computer downstairs turned on. So I said, hi, I'm gonna search the App Store, and must be an app for that. And sure, it was one where you enter your the MAC address, and it will send a command. And I said, hey, this is not really how it should be, right? So I said, I'm going to build one. But instead of actually being in the same network, it should work from anywhere, and the system should be anywhere in the world. And at the same time, you don't have to do trickeries to open ports just to get it going. So I designed the proof of concept and tested it for a while. Then I think March 2011, we launched in the App Store the iOS app. It was such a bummer because it was using encryption, and we were all ready. Hey, we're going to launch today, right? And then we didn't know back then, and the App Store was like, "Hey, do you do security in your app?" Yes. Do you have the CCAT certificate? What's that? So it took us about 43 days to get that from the US to get approved and all that, submit all the documentation. So way to kind of stop all the enthusiasm of a launch day. But we learn all the way, like from the day one. When we started this, we didn't start it to make money. We started with the belief that we can build a mobile solution that can really improve, make a difference out there to IT administrators. And we started with a mantra, which it's still valid today, making IT heroes. We really believe in that. And for a simple reason, when everything goes well in your IT environment, no one gives you any praise, right? But if, God forbid, something happens, and you'll be the target of everyone's attention. So it's our silent way of acknowledging the IT hero in you, the IT administrator. And we, believe it or not, everyone in our team, as they come to work here at Pulseway, thinks our customer experience first. How can we delight our customers and make their life easier? So once we started and we had the iOS app, we had the simple Windows agent. We didn't have Linux or Mac support back then, and Android came later. We launched that on the market, and the feedback was tremendous. Again, like I said, we didn't start it to make money; it's to make meaning. I love Guy Kawasaki when he talks about this. And we started with a free plan, and that was the only plan. Like you could monitor up to, I think it was 10 systems for free, limited functionality, of course, but you could just go. And our customers were like, hey, our users were like, hey, we love this. Like, I want to monitor 100. Where can I buy? And I was like, what? You want to buy something? Like, oh, this is true story. Like, really true story. And we kind of started coming up with a plan that, now thinking about it, I'm laughing about the plan we had to make money back then. But obviously, it helped support our services and grow in terms of IT infrastructure, get more people on board, dedicating more time to build a solid product out of it. We were lucky back then. I think one of the forums, big mobile forums, I should remember the name, I will, XDA Developers, one of the administrators there who was an Android enthusiast, noticed the first version of our Android app. We released it free. Again, it was supporting 10 free. And then he wrote a post on XDA Developers. That brought us, I think, a few 20,000 users overnight or something like that, believed what we believed. Like, it should be easier and should be done from anywhere on the go. If you're on a bus and you have an issue, you need to kind of be alerted straight away that something is about to happen or just happened. And you should be able to actually securely correct that problem from anywhere without having to open up your laptop or running back into the office. So that was, the early days of Pulseway. If you ask me now, what have we done well at the beginning? We did a lot of things wrong, but we came up with a proof of concept to show what's possible. And we did a few, you would have a few commands in the app. It would be cool. You can shut down, restart. Really nice to show your friends at any party, like, look how well this can work. But we added a button in the application called request feature, help us make the app even better. And I remember now, every morning I was getting like 400 emails. Like, oh, I love this. It would be cool if it had that, and if it had that. So of course we got into a prioritization process. So say, hey, top 5 features we're going to implement this month. So and we've been doing that ever since. In all fairness. It's been and it is a great ride. Like we get pleasure every time we get a customer or a user, it doesn't have to be a customer, writing to us saying, hey, this improved my life, helped me do my job more efficiently. We have customers that are writing us letter, like, yes, they do still exist, to thank us for the service we provided. So this is where we kind of feed with the fact that, hey, we're making a difference. So
that is an awesome origin story. I'm already sold. I don't even know what the product can do, and I'm already sold. That's a great story to start from.
And let me jump on the bandwagon with a little bit of some facts that maybe Marius doesn't want to toot his own horn. They have over 4,500 customers, almost 1 million endpoints. They've been around for almost 10 years now. So I remember looking at Pulseway way back when it was mobile only, when it was only a mobile app. There wasn't a web interface. Full disclosure, I'm a Pulseway customer now, and I have been for a few months. And probably one of the most exciting things, about using Pulseway is kind of the full disclosure you get. The development is ongoing. And when you log into the portal, it doesn't punch you in the face, but there's tons of information that's provided, meaning every time there's a change, you get the information right away. And you don't have to go look for it. You don't have to go anywhere else. It's built very cleanly right into the app. So that's nice. And there's some other things that we're going to get into today, too, that make it pretty unique, I think, in the space. I mean, obviously, I get a lot of ragging from switching RMMs in the group, but I've been doing this since '95, and literally we counted them when we were all together last time. I've used 5 and the same one twice. So let's take that 4 down to 4. And, I don't see any reason why I would ever leave Pulseway at this point. I mean, they've been great. It's certainly not perfect, and neither are the business services I provide, and they're very honest about that. It's another thing I like about it too. They are, just like Mario said, continuous improvement is the name of the game over there at Pulseway to meet the ever-changing requests that we're throwing at them all the time. So I'll jump off my bandwagon, and no, I did not get paid for that. So thank you very much.
All right, very good, John. Appreciate that. Yeah, and we love honest companies that talk real stuff. So Ed, I want to throw it over to you and let it, kind of tell us your background in your story of how you got started and when you came to Pulseway and why.
Well, okay. So I came to Pulseway, I think it was 2013 or 2014. I met Marius over dinner, and he propositioned this great company and his vision. And now we pitched some ideas together, and we had really productive meetings. So it sounded like a great opportunity, and it sounded like a great product and a great company culture. So I jumped on board, and I've been there ever since. Really happy to get in on this exciting product, and we've changed so much. Our company has changed so much over the last couple of years. The product has changed so much. And being part of that has been really awesome. So for anyone who doesn't know, I lead the marketing operations and the PR operations for Pulseway. So when we started off, we've been growing exponentially, and it's been just a fun time to be part of this industry, first of all, because it's a super exciting industry, whether it's an MME for system administrators or if it's MSPs and tech repair shops. It's just been a great industry to be part of, and great customers and a great product.
Now, has your background always been in marketing?
Sort of, yeah. So in a sense, it has been. Before, I used to work in TV and movies and the TV production aspect of it. In college, we ran a little TV production company to make YouTube TV series with like these kind of celebrities. We call them from the Jersey Shore. Actually, you guys might know them. So this is what we used to do back then. But then I got to realize like the potential of actually marketing this and video marketing, and I was kind of more excited about that aspect than actually the production of it. So I moved towards marketing, and I worked in agencies for a few years before that, and then I moved on to Pulseway.
Very cool. Yeah, I love hearing where people came from and why they are doing what they do now. And the IT industry is one of those industries that's it's very unique as far as there are so many things that you can do in it, and it's the good and the bad, because it's good you can do so many different things with technology, and at the same time it can become overwhelming, and it's bad because there's so many things that you can do with technology. So to have companies out there that actually recognize that and try to make life simpler for the folks out there, it makes a lot more sense. And it sounds like you guys are, behind your product, and you're like, yeah, this is a belief, and you don't hear that all the time. So it's nice to hear. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about basically we kind of heard the background story of where Pulseway came from, a mobile app, and moving up into a more full-fledged app that, or an application, exe, whatever you want to call it, that you can actually run your business from. And I know John's running a fair amount of endpoints in his business using Pulseway. And if John says he likes it, he means he likes it. So I just go with that. But what types of things are we looking at with Pulseway that for somebody that may not be in remote monitoring and management at this point, but may be interested in getting into that? What types of things can they look forward to as far as using Pulseway?
So with Pulseway, which is an RMM tool, really, remote monitoring and management tool, you can first and foremost monitor all your systems. So you will deploy an agent that runs, for example, as on Windows as a service. So it starts when the computer starts and so on. That you could use to track pretty much everything. The parameters of the operating systems, the user, how the user uses the system, and configure alerts. And I think we have about 300 type of alerts you can configure on Windows when something happens, like from the fact that, for example, a user logged in the computer at 11 p.m. He logged in on a server that should not be, no one should be logging in at that time. To the fact that maybe an error was written in the event log, or someone locked his account on the Active Directory, and of course he's waiting for the administrator to unlock it and reset his password. You can create a notification of all these events, and the IT administrator will get those notifications straight away on their mobile device. So at the moment with Pulseway, you can monitor Windows, Mac, and Linux. Quite a lot of major distributions with support on Linux. And we have mobile apps for Android, iOS. That was our first app added, then Android. We were one of the first to release a Windows Metro app back in the days. So we still have that, but it hasn't been in focus. We will redesign that at some point this year. And of course, a web application that runs on all the major web browsers. With these applications, you can log in and then see the real-time status of those systems that you deployed agent on, and get the notifications straight away if something goes wrong or is about to go wrong. Computer is running out of memory, a process is taking too much of the CPU, you name it. Again, about 300, maybe more type of alerts you can set up in Pulseway. At the same time, what's good to get an alert if you can't action immediately on it. So with Pulseway, not only that you get the notifications, you can take an action to remediate straight from your device in a secure way. So if, say, you get a notification that the process is running to 100% CPU, you can kill that process or restart the service. Or you get a notification that a service that you would expect to run all the time has just stopped, and you can easily restart that service straight from your phone. So sending back commands to remediate is another major aspect of Pulseway. Now, since we added those agents, we extended it to add a cloud API, as we call it. So you can extend, number one, the capabilities of the agent with the plugin API. And with the cloud API, you can monitor web applications. So we'll give you a library that you embed in your app, and that will publish your applications like it's a monitored endpoint into our system. And what you can see there as parameters is the internal parameters of the application. Give an example, you have a web service in AWS that processes card payments, right? So you can publish through our cloud API how many transactions have succeeded, how many have failed, right? And that you can see that from your mobile device. But as your application starts having some transaction validation errors and it starts failing because maybe the payment processor is not available, you can code our cloud API to actually send a notification to the IT admin to say, hey, too many transactions are failing, do something about it. So you can still use this real-time data reporting and sending notifications from any application too. And what's the beauty finally on that is the cloud API will listen to events. So you can send a command that you can define yourself that's coming back in the application as an event. So you can decide what to do with it. So the event is restart the payment gateway, for example. I'll give you a simple example. So then you can remediate your app. So it gives you a good view into how your application is performing in production as well. That's quite important for some of our customers that are using the cloud API for that.
Very cool. And I like that, that it's something that can be proactive and can help you solve problems, the common problems that a lot of us have in this day and age, and that you can remediate it even before a lot of times the customer even knows what's going on. That saves you time with a phone call. It saves you time from them calling you. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and the
other cool thing I wanted to add in that, I don't want Marius to skip over that, is there's a lot of stuff already, a lot of high level stuff already simplified and built in to the Pulseway product. Like you can already monitor Hyper-V, you can already monitor Amazon, Zen Server, StorageCraft. That's already there. It's so easy. You just basically check a box and you're in. I mean, even on most of our servers, ever since we've gone back to Pulseway, we've just tossed an external USB drive on the box and fired up a server backup just because we can monitor that from Pulseway. And it was more of this, hey, we already got another backup product that's running and doing an online backup and some other stuff. But we figured, well, geez, for $100, we can put a 3 or 4 terabyte external drive on here and run Windows backup and just have another monitored backup on the system. And I can monitor that from the mobile app. I can monitor that online, and I get notifications if anything goes wrong. And I don't want to skip over the event log monitoring too, because Jeff, you and I have talked about monitoring Windows Defender. I mean, you can do all sorts of event log monitoring from the aspect of if an event log notification contains this word, send me a notification. So, I mean, and you can dumb it down or make it really complex, however you want, and you can do that per PC, and you can roll that across your organization too. So it's really neat how they've done some stuff in there as far as if it's happening in Windows, Pulseway can pretty much pull it out and notify you about it.
That's really cool. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we want, right? It's something that's going to notify us.
Well, it's a good way to take care of a customer. You can say to them, hey, $100, we can add another backup, and I can monitor it for you.
There you go.
So,
Very cool. All right, Ed, so what types of things are you most excited about when it comes to Pulseway, and what are some of the things that are being talked about on a regular basis that you go, yeah, this is why I'm here?
And just to add to some of the usage functionality, while we have a free version, we get a lot of people who maybe are not MSPs or professionals. So there's some home users involved in the free version. So you get some different scenarios of usage to the product. They monitor certain things about their spouse, maybe. So you also get.
That's funny.
We always have to track some sort of a laptop somewhere.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't do that. We're not in the business of exploring or customer personal information whatsoever. But the requests we're getting sometimes are beyond weird. But yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that, because there's been a handful of customers over the years that have come to me and said almost the same exact thing. There's something I can put on my wife's computer that I can monitor, and I'm like, don't know, don't care, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So move along.
We are not in the spying
we
your
don't-
wife sector, for sure.
You get some funny questions like that, like, can I monitor my wife's computer, do this and track this? So yeah.
Yeah, but on the cool level, from our aspect, I mean, you can fire up Pulseway for 2 computers at no cost, and pretty much kick the tires on 90% or 95% of the features without
Pretty
a problem.
much, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this has been our approach from day one. Like, we won't pressure anyone to say, hey, you have a 14-day trial, make a decision or go away. We're more than happy to have IT enthusiasts using the product and see what can be, without any pressure for them to migrate. We still have free users from when we started, and they're still happy and using our product. So, and we're happy to have them, because they become, if they're excited about how they use it and how it fits their needs, they become, maybe it's a too complex term, but they become a brand ambassador at some point, and they will they'll be your advocates and showcasing the product to other friends, colleagues.
I would imagine too that a lot of the information that you get just from how people use the product is probably also helpful in the development of the product as you move forward.
Yeah, we have anonymized telemetry information, as in, we always started this without even knowing, as an MVP, right? A minimum viable product. So every time we release a new feature, for example, that feature can gain adoption or not. So we monitor the adoption curve, if you like. So if people start using it, we will invest more to build a version 2. We will get feedback too from our users saying, hey, this is really cool. What if you can add this or that, right? And there have been some initiatives that haven't been proven very successful. And we were able to actually realize that early and cut the effort we dedicated to those ones, and just focus on the one that our customers and our users really wanted us to focus on. So this, from that point of view, yes, this kind of information, it does help us. It does, yeah. Without delving into who's who doing what, because we are just not in business of doing that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. I was going to say the other thing too is, I don't know if everybody heard that, but when Marius said MVP and he actually explained what the term is, see, this is what normal people do. The other people out there that are just saying, acronyms all the time to sound smart. No, it's like, you explain what it is, because not everybody knows. So, these guys are the real deal. That's all I'm going to say about that. Right, John?
Well, I want to go back to talking more about me, because really the podcast should be more about me anyways. But
it's all about you, baby.
I don't want to overshadow the power of the web app. I thought it would be a cute little thing to have, but especially from the fact of, if you don't have a lot of other techs in your support organization. I'm a solo tech. Everybody knows that. I manage about close to 800, 900 endpoints. And I do occasionally like to go on vacation, or at least pretend I'm not working. The beauty of that is, I've had twice now where Pulseway, it might just be something simple, but I can log into the web app while I'm in Disney with my family. And with the 2 products that we talk a lot about, one being, Overseer from Arachnus, and then now Pulseway, I can reboot a server, I can check the antivirus status, I can remediate stuff, I can reboot a port on a switch, on a PoE switch, to reboot a phone to correct a problem. It's all about time, really, if you really want to go back to it and think about it. So it's not like Pulseway is any more or less expensive than anybody else out there. I would actually say their price provides more value with what they deliver, and that's one of the reasons I'm with them. But using the mobile app to remediate something when you're about standing in line to get on a Disney ride, one kind of feels good in a weird sort of way, just because it's super cool. And your wife kind of looks at you and says, that was easy. And then you kind of say, yes, I'm the IT hero, if you want to put it in Pulseway words. But, I didn't have to get out of line, bust out my laptop, fire up my hotspot, if I even have my laptop with me, which I probably didn't, that sort of thing. So it's, it's little things to consider in any product, and not just saying in Pulseway. If you have a problem with that product, how are you going to remediate that? What's it going to take, especially if you're a solo tech? So things just to keep in mind, moving away from Pulseway, but with anything that we're dealing with, one, how does it save you time? Two, how are you going to remediate issues, because your customers are expecting that remediation immediately.
All right. Tell you what, let's go ahead and take another quick break, and then we'll continue this conversation, because I like the way it's going. So this is very cool. Our show today is brought to you by FreshBooks. Small business owners, it's that time of year again. It's tax season, and it's time to be honest about how you feel when dealing with your day-to-day admin work. Admit it, you can't stand it. It's a total grind. Nobody likes paperwork. The truth is, over 5 million small business owners felt exactly the same way until they discovered FreshBooks. FreshBooks is the dead simple cloud accounting software that's transforming how small business owners handle their paperwork. Using FreshBooks to create and send an invoice literally takes about 30 seconds. There's no formulas or formatting. No Excel spreadsheets, people. Just perfectly crafted invoices every time. Your clients can pay you online, which often means you end up getting paid a lot faster. Getting paid online is much, much faster than a check. Even though I still like checks. But no, I'd rather get paid online, and it's quick and easy. There's a super handy deposit feature, so you can invoice for a payment upfront when you're kicking off a project. Get paid for that hardware upfront. Don't be stuck holding the bag. This is the perfect way to do it. And then go and do the work and invoice for the rest. Very easy to do. FreshBooks can even show you whether or not a client has looked at the invoice you've emailed. Hey, did you get that payment I sent you? What payment? Yeah, you don't hear any of that, because they know, hey, yeah, but you opened it like 4 or 5 times. So just pay. That's an excellent feature to have. This is only a fraction of what FreshBooks can do for you. You owe it to yourself to feel the full effect of FreshBooks on you and your small business. For a 30-day free trial, just go to freshbooks.com/podnuts. Enter podnuts in the How Did You Hear About Us section. All right. So let's continue this conversation about Pulseway and some of the other features and things that they can definitely help us with. Because I'm sure right now it sounds like we've only touched the surface of what it can do for us. John keeps bringing up some great points.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
It's coming up in the chat and all that, and maybe a question that I would ask, and I'm going to kind of put the Pulseway guys on the spot, because I'm not sure if they can speak to this either. But obviously here in the U.S., there's a lot of questions about Kaspersky antivirus, because there's been a lot of political stuff. I'm actually thinking about switching over, and I've actually done a pretty big deployment on my endpoints to start doing some testing. So my question is, the whole Kaspersky thing seems pretty political versus actually me finding documentation of exactly what happened. Searching some Reddit forums, posting on the Spiceworks forums, trying to talk to some people that I think might be in the know, or just doing some Google searches. I mean, there's a lot of news about it, but I can't find any facts about it. So I'm wondering if you two can maybe provide any feedback on that, and maybe just put my mind, or maybe the other guys in the chat and listening to the show, minds and ease about the whole Kaspersky thing, if we want to go that route.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be John, it'll be great, very hard for us to, disprove whatever rumors were out there. We kind of took a very balanced approach to this. We had customers that were telling us, hey, we do love Kaspersky, and we still trust the product. So I think it does a great job. So we say, yeah, we will continue to support it. And we had quite a few customers that were worried, of course, about what they were hearing, or they had some government contracts, and of course they were not allowed to use Kaspersky on those sites. So because of that, we introduced, with urgency, I would say, a second AV provider, which is Webroot. So we leave it up to our customers, who obviously they're smarter than us when it comes to implementing these antivirus solutions, to decide. All we felt like at that time is we need to provide an alternative and let our customer choose. And I can tell you that it's not going to be, these two are not going to be the only two alternatives that we're going to provide. We're going to probably add a third one sometime this year as well. But ultimately, the customer will be the one, our users, our customers will be the one deciding what fits their business. And if they can't address the concerns with Kaspersky, they can move away. Or if they feel it's overblown and it's just a political drama, they can continue to use it. We will not be able to be in a position to confirm anything.
Yeah.
Great.
Ed, you were going to say something?
Yeah, it just seems like a more speculation rather than actual facts presented by anybody. Regarding this, I'm not being one way or the other. It's just there hasn't been any specific facts detailing how this has infiltrated or how the government is using for their services, basically the Kaspersky engine. So all it is basically speculation, and if people don't, obviously you're going to worry about it or you're not going to worry about it based on facts or not. So it's up to the people to kind of make up.
Yeah, our duty was to provide an alternative. So especially for customers that had to deal with government organizations where Kaspersky was not an option, was ruled out. So Webroot now is the product of choice for those customers.
And I think that's good to have choice anyways, because everybody has their own favorite type products. But I will say, as far as the Kaspersky stuff and all that and all the conspiracy theorists and whatnot, I'll say it. You're online. Stop. Just stop. Just let it go. But from your guys' standpoint, I also understand that if you do have a government contract, they absolutely are not going to let you use that product, which you guys have provided an alternative, which is Webroot, which a lot of people love too. So it's a win-win situation. I don't find a problem with Kaspersky personally. It's been one of the bigger ones out there for a very long time. And they're one of the few companies that actually do the research in getting the virus definitions and stuff like that. And they've been doing that for a way long time. And I think a lot of people forget that there's only a handful of companies out there that are doing that type of research. So anyways, not to go on that bandwagon because it doesn't matter, but I just think there's a lot of wasted time on the internet with
well, I put a show note from Tom's Guide. I put a link to it in the show notes and in the chat from Tom's Guide, which I think is a pretty reputable.
Okay.
And the author, Paul, I won't even try to say his last name, Paul W. will just say, it has a pretty level-headed outlook on what exactly he can report that happened and all that sort of thing. And that's where I've sort of taken my justification from, based on the facts that he presents in that article and everything else I read. So in my opinion, as long as my endpoint testing goes fine, I love the integration that the Kaspersky has with Pulseway. Now, that doesn't mean I might not switch if they come out with another third party that I like better, because obviously Pulseway, being in Pulseway, that makes it pretty easy to do that switching. But it also takes a lot of time to test and do all the whitelisting and stuff that needs to take place. But I appreciate the answer, and I didn't mean to put him on the spot, but I just, you might as well hear from the horse's mouth. And if I can interject one more question from the chat is, how does weekend support work for Pulseway RMM? If I put a ticket in now, am I waiting till Monday, or is there weekend support with those of us that have team level RMM subscriptions?
So there is limited support for weekends as well. So we have a team that will check and prioritize the tickets. So if there's something that's priority 2, 1, or 0, it's going to be addressed. At the same time, what we introduced as well recently, quite recently, John, is the ability to chat with your product specialist in web app, as you probably noticed. So it goes straight to the person that is tasked to looking after you and making sure that you're utilizing it as you wanted to, and you get all your questions answered. So if there's anything, it will reach that person straight away on their mobile device, because we're using a tool that will alert them straight away as soon as one of our customers wanted to ask a question or has an issue.
Oh,
And
go
on
ahead.
top of that, sorry, just to interrupt there. And on top of that, we're building out more in-product services where you can support yourself in a lot of questions. I know support is really important, but on top of that, some of the simpler questions, building out an in-product support system. I don't know, John, have you seen the in-product communication we had with you? Within that, you have a search option to search for articles, guides on how to serve certain issues. So we're always building that out to make sure that you don't even have to contact anybody to support some of the questions you might have. So that's all right in front of you within the actual product on both the mobile app and the web app.
Yeah, let me expand on that a little bit just so guys can understand what they're talking about. So I log into Pulseway RMM just like every other RMM product out there on the web. There's this cool little icon, smiley face down in the left-hand corner where I can immediately do a search for an answer on a product, or I click a button and I start a conversation that automatically goes to my rep, my Pulseway, what I would call a partner. And if he can't help me, he tells me, hey, I've handed this off to Bob, Ermins, whomever it might be, and they're looking into your problem and they're going to get back to you directly. So you don't have to go anywhere else. It's already right in there, all baked in. You don't have to go to a support page. And the cool thing is all your other conversations will be in there. You can see all your previous conversations if you need to go back and look at something. So it's pretty cool, and it keeps improving. The other nice thing that they'll do is they'll tell you right on there too, maybe the response time. Like if you go on there on the weekends or something, they might say we're back tomorrow, or it might say 1 hour, or it might say less time. So they're kind of giving you a reality check as well. So that's kind of nice.
That's
cool. By the way, that tool is also available, John, on the mobile app as well. So if you were to step away from the web app and someone comes back to you with an answer, as soon as you open the mobile app, you can continue that conversation there as well.
And kind of the whole thinking behind it is when people have a problem, they want to talk about it now, right? Rather than hop off, I'll go to a support page, I'll type out my support question, and I'll send it forward, and you have no transparency. With this, I have a question now, I'll go and shoot it out right away, and it feels like, okay, this is being dealt with and I'm being more productive. It's like the new generation of communication, basically. Yeah,
it's person to person, really, on this day. You don't feel like you're part of a machine. So that's...
And I'll just throw a reminder out to everybody too. When you're dealing with support in any of your vendors, remember, provide as much information as you can about the problem to the guys that are supporting you. Don't just say this is broken. Try to tell them the platform you're on, what's going on, the things you've done already. And I'm not picking up Pulseway or anything like that. I'm just saying if you're dealing with any vendor, that's going to get you a faster response. So just keep that in mind when you're using any support tool. So there's another tip of the week.
Nice. Yeah, be as detailed as possible, because we all love it when our customers come to us and say, hey, I got a problem with this thing. Can you fix it? Well, what happened? I don't know. Somebody did something on a computer and they did this, and I don't know what's going on. Can you I still don't understand. So, I love that communication though, because we tell people all the time, as long as you're communicating with your customer, because a lot of people will get irritated that their customer calls and bugs them. Hey, is my computer fixed yet? Hey, is this back up and running yet? Can I use my computer? Whatever. If you have a way that you can communicate with them, they leave you alone. They just want to know, hey, is something happening? And it sounds like you guys have cracked that nut and gotten the ability for people to get that ball started so that they can, I'll say this on a weekend, hey, if something's going on and it's that big a deal, you know what? Hey, send in your support and, go take some time for yourself and your family and deal with it back on Monday. But anyways, it's just my 2 cents. All right. So obviously you guys are doing a lot of what other companies out there are doing. And the big word of the day is integration. So what types of companies or things are you integrating with in Pulseway? Because obviously, I'm sure people ask for integrations when they're looking at your product.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that people usually ask is the integration with the service desk and the ability to create a ticket from the RMM as an alert gets triggered to create a ticket in their service desk, right? So We do have an integration with Zendesk, first and foremost. We do have an integration with Autotask. We just released one with ConnectWise because we had a few customers asking for that. They're using the ConnectWise PSA quite a lot. At the same time, they love our Pulseway RMM, so they prefer to have those tickets created on the ConnectWise end. So on that part, we've integrated just to having the ability to create those tickets and giving them more visibility into what happened on that alert. This is one of the most important one. We have one that was very successful, and it still is, with PagerDuty. So it does alert escalation. So as you know, we're sending a push notification and an email, but that's pretty much about it to begin with, right? To alert you, hey, you have an issue. And that alert stays on our system for you to consult and review at any stage. But if you want to wake up someone with a phone call or a ton of SMS messages or escalate to their manager and so on, if you use PagerDuty, and it's quite cost effective, especially in the US, you can do so. So we will raise the alert on the PagerDuty side, and they'll take the escalation path from there.
Awesome.
So this has been a very successful integration. Also, we have Slack. We have Slack, where we post on any. We post the alerts as messages for your group to receive them, and it's a handy link as well. As we post the alert there, if you click, you're being brought to the alert straight into the web app as well, so you can immediately jump in and investigate what the issue is. So these are the main ones that we currently have at the moment. Obviously, we're looking to add more as in the coming months and probably next year as well, as we get feedback from our customers to say, hey, we think this is the right one to do. Now, at the same time, the integration we have is I think like John pointed out, like we have integrations with all mainly the Windows Server modules, but we have an integration with Hyper-V, VMware. So from your agent, you can link up with the VMware server, and then you can view all your VMs. You can pause them. You can take snapshots. You can restore a snapshot all the way from your mobile device. So these we call them server modules, but they're kind of integration, if you like, with an external server module, server software on that respect.
Awesome. John, you had you look like you wanted to say something there.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just pointing to, while Marius was talking, that all of that can be done from my mobile phone.
I think, this is what the approach. Every time we add something new, for example, we add Hyper-V, right? So we're staying true to three things that we're doing. Real-time monitoring, so you see exactly how everything is doing in that moment. Number two is alerts, real-time alerting. And at the same time, the third one being ability to send commands, remediate. So even with the Kaspersky, if a threat is being found, you can straight away, not only that, you can monitor and see the status of the antivirus, if it's up to date and all that. You will receive a notification when a threat is being detected. Then you can run a command to scan the computer and clean that straight from your phone. So these are the three key things that we stay true every time we add a new server integration to our platform.
So sometimes I would describe it to people, it's like, imagine not having Uber, right? It's the same principle for monitoring and management. Imagine not being able to email someone from your phone, or having an emailing app to do your job. So it's the same principle of monitoring tools. That's what you get with Pulseway. It's modern day communication. It's like the Uber of remote monitoring and management. That's my kind of view on that.
Nice. I like that. It makes it nice and simple. Yeah, and it's easy to understand. Again, it's one of these things that it's nice to have features, and obviously people are asking for things all the time. Looks like you guys are, like you said in the beginning, is prioritizing what people are asking for, because obviously there's probably people asking for things that it's like, wait a minute, you don't need that. But it sounds, it sounds like to me that the mobile app is the cat's meow. If that's still, some of you young people might not understand.
Oh my goodness! Really?
Sorry, I just confused like everybody. Sorry about that.
We don't know what that means in the States, let alone overseas there, Jeff. So let's just...
Good point.
I want to add a couple other things that Pulseway has that maybe shaped my decision. Being a solo tech, maybe I don't want to stay that way. So Pulseway does have a full PSA that I could migrate into. If I brought on some more employees or ever went back to the employee thing and I needed a PSA platform, or even if I wanted to use that now as a solo tech, I've been dabbling in that, and that includes everything from ticketing to the HR to the whole 9 yards. It's a pretty sophisticated system. They do have an integration with, I believe it's Unitrends for backup. If you wanted to utilize that, they do have a knock service, which some of us want to make, depending on how you're doing that you can do that. They also have a full onboarding platform and levels of that. I mean, obviously they have a base onboarding if you become a member, but I mean, they can hold your hands all the way to help you do your scripting if you want. So, and I didn't want to jump over that they also have some integration with Warranty Master, IT Glue, and who am I missing? We did the antivirus. I think that's it. Oh, you said PagerDuty already. So yeah, so they do have Warranty Master and IT Glue integration as well. So,
oh, cool. Very cool. So, all right, let's get down to the brass tacks, because obviously the question that everybody's going to, and we've said this often, is that when people go to the page, go to the website, the first thing they look for is, how much is this going to cost me? And can you guys talk to that?
It's free for anyone. And no, I'm joking.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Question.
It's priced. So the RMM is priced per endpoint. So servers and workstations, and we have tier discounts depending on your the number of endpoints you have. So the workstations start, I think, at $1.80 per month. So it's pay-as-you-go monthly billing. There's no contracts, no commitments. We don't tie you into like a 3-year deal or a 2-year deal and force you to sign anything up. You can scale up and down as much as you want, because MSPs are volatile business. Sometimes you might lose a customer, you might gain a customer. So we're not going to force you to pay for endpoints you're not using. You can drop them the following month and bring them up. So there's a lot of flexibility in our Netflix model almost for RMM. The AV, so we have two options. We have WebRoot and Kaspersky. WebRoot is priced at $1.20 per month per endpoint, and Kaspersky, I think it's $1 per workstation and $2 per server.
Perfect. Wow, that's so. Now, is there any minimums or anything like that?
There is a $47 minimum to start with, which is not a lot. With that, you can have, I think, 23, 20. And that kind of covers all the support costs and everything. So that's the entry into the. So there is also the free. If you don't want to commit to that yet, you want to test it out for longer, you can stay with the free plan for as long as you want. We don't push you to upgrade. And when you're ready, you can jump on the $47 minimum, and then that works up per workstation price.
I want to add a little bit of this too, because one of the coolest things about Pulseway is you have, once you're a Pulseway user, you have complete control about this right from your control panel. You go to the billing section. They have an overview pane, which shows you all the licenses you currently have, any free that you have. You can place an order, and you just adjust. You don't have to call anybody. You just adjust the accounts with a little tick up and down on what you want. If you want more remote sessions, if you want more AV, if you want less AV, if you want more endpoints, more server endpoints, it's just easy. You have no time in adjusting any of that. So if you add a customer, you just click and add more. If you lose a customer, you just remove them, and you're not billed next month. So it's just that easy.
You're just removing that process of, I have to call my salesperson and I go like, John, I need 20 endpoints. I need to onboard this customer. He goes to the company. He goes, okay, we need to raise a quote. Sends the quote. Okay, I approve the quote. Yeah, God, yeah, send me the invoice. Invoice, okay, sent. Okay, now we send it to the tech team to add more licenses. Like with us, like you just log in, add 5, 6, 7, 20 endpoints, and it's done.
And yeah, to complete on that, we had some requests, John, from some of the customers, and we're considering this. in terms of allowing them to scale and deploy ahead of actually purchasing more licenses. So you don't need to know, hey, I need 20 exact. You go on site and you want to go 40, you can do that. And in one word, over provision, and then catch up on the pricing plan on that month will catch up with the usage. So this is something that we're looking into to make it even easier for you as you sign up on your customers and you don't really know exactly how many endpoints you're going to add. So you can still go ahead and add them and then be billed for that at a later stage.
So let me get this right. So you actually know from the get-go basically what you're going to pay. It's wait. I'm sorry. This sounds way too simple. It sounds way too easy.
Jeff,
What?
if you can read English, I mean, it's precedent for some of us. But if you that's right. Yeah,
No,
I mean,
that's great.
it's kind of shocking that it's that surprising that we got to work, that this is that funny. I mean, it's funny because it's true,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But it's kind of surprising that this is a remarkable feature, really. But it kind of is.
It's kind of shocking, depending like in the industry we're in, right? So we're supposed to be in the most advanced industry ever, monitoring tech and monitoring endpoints and being ahead of. So a lot of other vendors like being behind in that terms of payment wise and billing systems. It's kind of strange to me personally.
The view we've took, John and Jeff, is I discover a new product and I'm excited about it, and I'm about to spend some time testing it. But if I go to the pricing page and they say, hey, for a quote, call us and we'll talk to you about half an hour and maybe we'll give you a quote, I'm kind of hesitant to start trialing that product. And I think we're at the age now where we're no longer competing for users' time to decide to buy, but we're competing for the user's time to try things. There's so many products out there that you can choose from. If you're upfront and transparent with them, you convince them, hey, this is a product worth investing maybe 2-3 weeks of my busy schedule to test. So be as upfront as you can with your customers. They'll definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely. Wow.
So my next question, if I can jump on and interject, is what are the maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 biggest requests you've got for new features, and what do you think's coming over the next couple of quarters? I mean, obviously, don't give away the secret sauce, but what do you think's coming, or where do you think maybe Pulseway is weak and you're making some big improvements?
So one of the big requests we're getting, like our customers do love the mobile app, but there is a time when they like to assist a user remotely. And we build, as you probably use, the remote desktop solution, which is proprietary to Pulseway. And you don't have to open any ports. It runs the same way over HTTPS like the Pulseway agents do. So as you know, probably that allows you to connect to a console session or any remote session that's started on that machine. So I can just jump in on someone that's connected remotely and assist and help out with diagnosing a problem. So we're investing quite a lot of the resources to enhance our remote desktop functionality. So all the way from, at the moment it runs as an app, as you know, you will be able to kick off sessions straight from your web app, and later on this year, straight from your mobile apps. So both Android and iOS will gain the capabilities of remote connecting to any session on the machine that you want to log into. So that's one major initiative that we're doing. You will see very quickly, end of Q1, I think, we're pushing the third-party patching. We have the patching policies in the product, so you can get the OS patching configured in the web app. Third party with quite a few titles, the useful titles are going to start showing up end of this quarter. So that's another initiative that we have going on right at the moment. On the PSA, as we talked about it, you do have to log in separately to a Pulseway PSA. When it comes to Service Desk, we're bringing that into the mobile app. So if you're on site and you want to update a ticket, you will be able to do just that. And now talking about learning from customers, one of the things we're getting into, it's a fancy term, AI, but it's some sort of machine learning. So we learn from patterns from customers and then start suggesting you policies that you should apply in certain environments based on how other users have done it. It's all anonymized, so no personal information, and it's an opt-in system. But all the way to, we will learn from what kind of alerts our user configure, and we will suggest you the best practices on that. And at the same time, the end goal to this project, if you like, for maybe end of this year, is you deploy an endpoint somewhere in a network, John, and at some point that endpoint is going to start, the agent on that endpoint is going to start alerting you about things that you haven't go ahead and configure to be alerted to begin with. So that's the end goal into this. Obviously, won't get into the details of how we're doing it and all that. It's an opt-in again, so we will not be doing that without you having to say, hey, I want to be in this, because it pulls together the knowledge that we get from a lot of customers that are opting into this, to be able to give you an accuracy of a prediction. Like, hey, I think 90% of this CPU stuff, that's 99% all the time, and it's touching, this process is touching a lot of files. Something's going on there, right? So we're going to start sending you alerts, kind of like, we think this is, I don't know, it's damaging your computer. And you're going to confirm that, yes or no. Is this a real issue or not? And if it is indeed, we learn from that. We take a thumbprint of that case, and this is how we're going to train the model. So next time this happens to another customer, they will get that alert. Now, if we get we get a certainty of 90, 95, which is pretty high, but I say 90, we could end up actually killing that process for you, rather than asking you, hey, is this something bad? Because we have that certainty that that's really something bad affecting your machine. But this is where it's going. We made the first steps. We'll start with policies. We'll start with us suggesting you best practices based on the majority of customers that are monitoring pretty much the same type of endpoints or the same type of customer. In a nutshell, these are the main ones. Of course, we have a lot of little ones, improvements in the product we do all the time. Like in a sense, we still operate as a startup. I shouldn't be saying that, it's shocking, but if there's an issue that came because, I don't know, there's an update to the OS that's causing the agent to misbehave sometimes, we almost stop everything we're doing to address that before we continue. So, and it's very important. And talking about support, we have customers, John, majority, paying yearly, that we hear from them when the renewal date is due. So we really take great care of the quality. So our customers don't experience these kinds of issues. But as someone is reporting something, we definitely focus all our attention in addressing that issue that could become an issue that affects a lot of our customers. So these kind of maintenance releases, not just bug fixes, but improvements in product, make our customers' life easier. They are coming and being rolled out on a 2-3 weeks basis as well.
I love it.
That is exciting.
Yeah, because I was going to say, John, the biggest thing I think a lot of people getting into any type of remote monitoring and management is trying to figure out what type of alerts and things that they need. Mm-hmm. And if you guys you're taking the information that you're getting from your customer base as an opt-in, obviously, but you're taking that information. If you can give me the alerts that I need because I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm doing, that's awesome.
So the whole goal is like, so for example, you're an MSP and you're starting off, and there's 200 MSPs like you in the same situation with the same environment. You don't need to spend time to pre-configure things. You can go, okay, well, these guys are using this model. All I need to do is like, okay, I accept the policies, So that comes pre-configured, so you have to do even less, spend even less time, as John talked about time usage, to be able to figure things out, go into and customize each notification. That's done for you if you fit into that profile. So that's kind of the vision behind that that idea.
That's you can't ask for more than that. That's awesome.
Hey guys, speaking of the third-party patching, is that something you guys have developed in-house, or are you guys partnering with somebody to do that?
We have developed this in-house. It's we will have control over all the titles that we're pushing. We're going through the quality test. Even every time we release an update to whatever software title we support, we're going to go through tested on our test environments before we have the confidence to say, hey, yes, we can roll this out to our customer base. So we're building this in-house.
Very cool.
Awesome.
All right, I'll tell you what, if you guys want to gather up your last thoughts, we're going to take another quick break here, and then any lasting thoughts we had before we get on out of here. But again, time flies by. If you'd like to support this show, go to patreon.com/computer repair podcast. And I just want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for your continued support. We appreciate what everybody is doing out there. And basically what it is, it's a buck a show. We do about 4 to 5 shows a month, so $4 to $5. Skip a Starbucks coffee, and you can pay for that. And what it does is it helps us continue doing the show, replacing equipment, all that kind of stuff as needed, and having a basis to run from. But what it gives you is the opportunity to get in a super secret Facebook group that not anybody can just get into. And the reason we did this is we wanted a nice, safe environment where people could come in, and it doesn't matter how new you are, or if you've been in this business like John forever, you can actually ask a question that nobody will ridicule you for. It's not like a lot of these other forums and groups and stuff like that. People are actually nice, because if they're not, I've got a couple bouncers in there that will actually kick you out without my permission. I've given that control over to somebody that can make those decisions. So, but it's a great environment to be a part of. And there's a lot of new people that have been signing up and being a part of that and getting a lot of good information. And, there's times that people just lurk and get answers about questions they may have. So it's kind of a cool situation. And as always, you can contact, me or John, and we're always going to respond in some form or fashion. Right, John?
Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's go around. And Ed, I'm going to start with you. And just any final thoughts about Pulseway or anything that maybe we didn't cover at this point?
Well, there's just a quick thing that we released recently, as well as the sales and marketing training for MSPs, our managed service providers. It's pretty cool. I spent a lot of time last year traveling the US and going to these events and conferences, talking to a lot of our customers about what they're currently doing, and I was just kind of shocked at just what some of the things they were saying they were doing to gain new customers, or they were paying some really outdated coaches to teach them how to do old school marketing. So I said, right, okay, this is interesting. So I sit down with my team and some of our customers. We had a couple of calls, and a lot of them were like, oh, how do you get new customers? Well, word of mouth, reference. Somebody says something. Okay, well, doesn't seem very productive. So I was like, well, we've been doing marketing within this industry for the last 4 or 5 years, spending millions in budgets, testing stuff out yearly, monthly. We try different things. I was like, well, we just take some of our learnings and help some of our customers get new customers, because at the end of the day, if they get new customers, they'll buy more endpoints. So it made sense. So we built out a modern approach to it. So using AdWords, using CPC campaigns, which is cost per click campaigns. Retargeting which is somebody visits your website and the ad follows you around until you convert. When you log into bookings.com and you book in a hotel room and you didn't quite book it, that hotel room will follow you no matter where you go.
That's true.
So simple things like that, just showing them how to use this digital tech to market it for them. On top of that, also the sales process that we've incorporated over the last 4 or 5 years with our sales team, which is to be helpful and using analytical data about it. So what did they do on day one, templated and so on. So kind of helping MSPs use those tools and building that knowledge base out for them. And we're going to keep continuing to do that.
Yeah. That is great, because a lot of people, those are questions that people ask all the time. How do I get more customers? And it's a common question. And it sounds like you guys are taking the data you have and you're answering those questions just there to help people out, which, again, this is something you don't hear about all the time. And I love these scenarios where it's a win-win situation, because you're exactly right. If you help the MSPs, tech shops, whatever, get more customers, obviously they're going to buy more endpoints, and it's a win-win for everybody. So I love it. I love that approach.
And there's on top of that, like the charging, for example. There's a funny story. We won't name names. So I did a lot of calls with customers, and somebody would buy an endpoint from us for $1.80, and they would charge their customer $3. And like, you can't make money if you don't know what to charge your customers as well. So teaching them just subtly how to position their services and what to charge the customers, and just to make them be successful and make money out of it as well. Because a lot of people that get into it, maybe they're more tech oriented sometimes, and they're not quite sure maybe about the business proposition of it. So just from that angle.
Yeah, they're very good technically, and they get their first customer. They're excited about it, and they're looking for some sort of a book saying, I started my MSP and I got my first customer. Now what?
Exactly.
And it's fair play to them. I think they're doing a great job. We love to see these kind of businesses being set up, because they'll come to us, and we've been watching quite a few of them and worked with them, starting in for 50 endpoints and ending the year in about 1,500 endpoints or about 1,000. So it's great to see them grow and learn how to offer their services in a way that they actually make money and they're productive, so they can sustain a business. They don't doing it for passion, just for passion, or just for the love of tech, but they actually can build a business out of that. So it's great when you see a lot of, we can help them be a real business in a short period of time, if you think about it. So
that's good. Yeah, you don't always get that help from everyone. So Marius, I'm going to go ahead. Is there any other things that we haven't touched on that you want to mention here now that we're towards the end?
So there are a lot of things that we haven't mentioned.
We can see. I told you we could go on forever.
Absolutely, but I would encourage everyone. Like it's a lot of things we can say about it, and we're really grateful to John and yourself by promoting and raising the awareness of the Pulseway solution. We built this because we believed, and we still believe in making the IT administrator the hero of the moment and saving the situation when it's there's an issue. But I would encourage everyone not to listen to us at all, and open a free account with us and try that out on their own. Because there's nothing better than you realize in your own environment how this can help you when you need it the most. So that will be my recommendation to everyone of our audience.
Awesome. That is very cool. And I'm going to second that and go out there and kick the tires. Go grab this product. It's free. We love tiered approaches because it gives you the opportunity to use something and understand how it works for you. And once you're able to do that, you can figure out, hey, is this something I want to make money on, and move along from there. So I love that approach. And you're out nothing. Go try it. Sign up today. So, and we'll have links in the show notes for all that stuff. John is furiously putting all that stuff together. But John, right now, I want you, any lasting thoughts or questions for these gentlemen before we get on out of here?
Well, I don't want to act like I'm on the Homer bandwagon too much with my Pulseway love, but I even put that in the chat room. My opinion, Pulseway is not perfect. Neither is my business. I'm always continuously improving, and that's really what struck me when I started my initial sales calls with the guys that I talked to over there. I really liked how they handled that in continuous improvement approach, how they listened to obviously I'm not their biggest client. I'm probably not their smallest either, but they still give me very good attention when I have problems. And I just, a little bit of proof. It's going on 10:30 over there in Ireland. And, here they are spending time with little old us, just bringing us information and, providing information to help us improve our businesses. So boom, I think that says a lot about them and the way Pulseway is. I mean, we have the owner of the company, the initial developer of the company giving us some time. So that's pretty awesome for our community and for the techs that are looking for products just like this to help them improve their businesses. So, and that's why I'm a Pulseway user.
Awesome, man.
Thanks
I
so
definitely
much,
appreciate it. And yeah, appreciate you guys coming out and taking the time, as late as it is over there, like John said. And this is what we do. And yes, little old us, we enjoy having vendors come and talk about their product and service. And all I'm going to say, I'm just going to reiterate this again. You can tell from the conversation we've had today, these guys are the real deal. They're real people and with a real passion for their business to help you in your business. And you can hear that by the way that they talk and the things that they've done in their business to bring you this great product. So again, full disclosure, I'm not a Pulseway user yet. But after hearing this interview, I'm very, very interested to, especially since John's been using it. Quite honestly, I let John kind of kick the tires, and I figured I'd jump in later. But anyways, no, it's great to have these guys out here, and we'll definitely have all their information in the show notes so that you can go there, get started with a free trial, and grow your business from there. So again, appreciate you guys coming out today.
Thank you for having us.
If you guys are ever in Dublin, pop over. Apart from making a mean RMM, we also make a great Guinness. So
we'd love to have you.
Booking my ticket now.
That would be awesome. That would be
That'd
awesome.
be great.
We need to do that. All right, come join us live for the Computer Repair Podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern over at podnuts.com/CRP Live. Joining on the conversation by hanging out in the chat room where people can ask questions and they get actually answered on the show when John's paying attention. You can also send an email to podnuts@podnuts.com or leave a voicemail at 734-335-1000. I want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on the Computer Repair Podcast.